Hello. Hello. Um, Good evening. Anyone who's watching, thank you so much for um, watching. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Juan Carlos Ojano from the Final Oscar. I'm, I studied film from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, 2012 to 2016. I've been covering, not really covering, but I've been predicting the Oscars since 2009, the year of the expanded ballot, the year when The Hurt Locker won, the year when Catherine Bigelow was the first female director to win an Oscar for Best Directing. So, um, we're gonna do the predictions for all the 24 categories live, and I'm gonna do it um, from the short categories, from the shorts to the tech categories, and then to the major categories. We're going to do it that way. And what we're trying to do is that because this is such a crazy year, this is such a crazy year. I mean, I don't think in the history of the expanded ballot has there been a field of nominees where almost all of them stand a chance of getting a Best Picture win. I don't think we've ever had that. And this year has proven to be such a crazy year for predictions that um, it's um, everyone has a chance to win. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the elimination, which means we're going to do from number five to the top for category. I'm not gonna say like this category is locked. No other nominees stand a chance of getting nominated because that's not true. This year, I firmly believe everyone has a chance to get nominated. I mean, so long for my introduction. We're gonna start with the shorts. Just tried on my new microphones. I think this is much better. Um, First of all, I would like to apologize if my thoughts are kind of scattered. I will do my best. It's just that I have seen, I've just watched Black Klansman minutes ago, and it shook me to my. There's something wrong with stomach. I think I'm having a physical reaction to the film. Anyway, so let's start with live action short film. Um, I've only seen one, and I will tell you which one it is. I've seen all the trailers. Um, Four of the films nominated are about children in terrible situations. Um, that would be Skin, Detainment, Fauve, and Mother. Marguerite is the only one that is about an elderly character. And the important thing about the short categories is that in the recent years, the Academy has really done, I would say, not yet enough, but efforts to really bring the shorts to the audiences by having screenings in major cities in the United States. That's a wonderful way to make these categories, these short films more accessible to the audience and make the audience care about these categories, so that we won't hear any protests like just bring the shorts to the governor's awards. No, I think they are really very important in filmmaking. The shorts, though, with live action short film, I'm thinking, this is all guesswork, but um, I've only seen Fauve, which was good. Not not really a big fan, but it was good. I think number five is Mother. Um, yeah, it's just I think the other four have something going on for them, and my number four is Fauve. You can interchange Mother and Fauve, but it's just that I feel like Fauve has something going on in it that makes it number four. My number three would actually be Detainment. It's a controversial film. Um, the mother of the child in the film, the character of the child in the film who has been murdered, wanted the film to be banned because the filmmakers did the film without her permission. It's publicity for the film. However, I still think there will be people who would feel that it's exploitative. I haven't seen it, I can't judge, but if it's really based on the transcripts and the very details of the crime were depicted in the film, and with controversy, I don't think um, Oscar voters, not many Oscar voters, would go for a film like that. But it depends. But I've heard that it had great acting from the lead child actors, so who knows? Um, my winner would be Skin. That film has divided the audiences and critics who have seen it, and I put Marguerite as my spoiler. I would at first thought that Marguerite would be my pick because it's the one that stands out from the field. However, Skin is about a timely topic in America, and that is racial tension, neo Nazism. And for a field like this, where it's the short categories, and you not everyone is into it. Those who will see it, there must be something that will stand out in the votes, stand out from the rest of the field, and Skin feels like a standout because it stars some known names by Daniel McDonald from Bird Box, the kid from This Is Us. Um, it's about kids. It's about a kid, so there are four of them in this category. However, it's also about racism, and I think that would strike a chord. Whether the film is good or not, that is up for debate. But the the timeliness of the film itself would factor in, and I think this year that would matter a lot. Which leads me to documentary short subject. Again, I've seen four of this. Impressive. um, I would say number five is A Night at the Garden. It's about um, a, um, a convention of more than 20,000 Americans in 1939 having a celebration of this Nazism in America. It's a very short documentary, 7 minutes, and it's all made from archival footage. It's very disturbing, more scary, but it's all of it is archival footage. There might be people who might discount the fact that there wasn't a footage shot. It was all archival footage, so everything was done in post production. I think there would be people who would discount the filmmaking in this, which should not happen, but it might. Number four, I think, would be Black Sheep. It's about racism, but in the United Kingdom. Um, this one is like the opposite of A Night in the Garden. I think there would be people who might be turned off because they're only a there are intermittent, brief head talking heads of the subject, but it's mostly the reenactment of those scenes, of those moments, of the things that happened, reenactments that there's you gotta. I think they got for people to really appreciate documentary. I mean the format known to most people with documentaries is that there's an interview. There's a balance between the pre-existing material, the shot footage, and the whatever. But this one heavily relies on the reenactment scenes, and I think that might be a factor that will affect in terms of discussing the choosing documentaries, because it is very valid. It is a form of documentary filmmaking. However, the voters might be looking just for something more traditional. Um, my number three is Endgame. It's about people who are near death and are discussing their options of going to a hospice where they can be living until they die. It's very emotionally draining. It's a very respectful documentary. It's from Netflix, so people will have more access to it. However, I'm still thinking that, because of the Academy is still leaning towards I think the mean age is still 60 or 70. I think this might hit too close to home. I'm not saying all of them are dying, but and it is very emotionally it's very emotional. So number two, I think, would be Lifeboat. I mean, if Endgame was emotionally charged, then Lifeboat really is just depressing. I don't throw out that word that much, but I think it is depressing. It's about the refugee crisis in the Mediterranean Ocean. People are drowning. Hundreds of people are drowning every day because they're trying to escape s- um, crimes and people being sold in Africa. This would go to appeal to the people who want their vote to matter because it talks about refugee crisis, and we know in America, where most of the membership is, there is a problem with refugee and asylum and all that because of um government policies. I'm not gonna get political. I'm not gonna invoke the president's name in this broadcast, but um Lifeboat, I think, is a film that when you vote for it, you feel like it matters. But it is really hard to watch because, and you actually see corpses in the film, so that's um it is an important film. However, my pick for the winner, I'm predicting Period End of Sentence. This is the only one in this category that I haven't seen. However, there is a push for it. One of the producers, or I think director, is Lisa Taback, the mastermind of the campaign for Netflix this year, where they launched practically, reportedly, the most expensive campaign at the Oscars for Roma, and it's also on Netflix. So accessibility wise, this also sends a message. But as I have read, this is the only one that's not really a downer. So this helps sticks out. This also helps the film to stick out from the field, and you know, um, it's about women banding together in India, where there are women's issues in India. I think this could be the option where they could make the vote matter, but not choose a film that's outright depressing. So I'm predicting Period of Ascendance, but my spoiler is Lifeboat. Next animated short. Normally Pixar takes this um, because they seem to have the most exposure from the nominees. Most of their shorts, they are attached from the full length films that they released this on a year. It helps a lot that it's from Pixar and everyone's predicting it. So I'm just gonna run down. I think number five is Animal Behavior. Number four is One Small Step. Number three is Weekends. The spoiler is Late Afternoon, and my predicted winner is Bao. And yeah, I think Bao is gonna get it. So now let's go to makeup and hairstyling. Number three for me is Border. If this is just a vote within the branch, I think Border might stand a chance. However, since this is being voted now by the entire Academy, and um, Border is the Swedish submission to the Oscars. The fact that it didn't even get nominated for foreign language film, the fact that it didn't even get shortlisted in the top nine, but it got nominated for makeup and hairstyling. I think that's the achievement in itself. Recently we've had for some reason, um, several Swedish films get nominated in makeup and hairstyling, like the 100-year-old man who climbed out the window and disappeared, and then a man called Uwe, and now Border. But I think it's not got a lot of exposure at the Academy. I think the nomination is the reward, and I still believe there should be five nominees in makeup and hairstyling. It is ridiculous that there are only three nominees. Anyway, number two for me is Mary, Queen of Scots. I think people have seen this, but um, Well, just look at the winner, and then you'll see why. It's Vice. A winner. I mean, a predicted winner is Vice. It's the only Best Picture nominee in this field. Most of the time, when the Best Picture nominee is nominated in makeup and hairstyling, it gets that, and it's just really showy. I think this goes in the vein of the Iron Lady and what are, the Iron Lady, for example, which it's about the recreation of an infamous political figure, um, you know, um, Dick Cheney, aka the devil, as Christian Bale called him in the Golden Globe speech. I think there are people. Dick Cheney's image is still in the minds of many American voters, and I think it would appeal to them. Um, let's go to visual effects. Visual effects. Black Panther isn't even nominated. I'm yet to see Black Panther tomorrow, but I haven't even seen it, and this confuses me because um, the trend normally is that you go with the film that is a Best Picture nominee or at least a Best Picture contender. If you go by that, it's First Man. However, I'm also thinking of maybe since Black Panther wasn't nominated for Best Visual Effects, maybe the support for Black Panther might go to Avengers Infinity War. And also, since the membership of the Academy has shifted within the past 3 or 4 years, there's a possibility that the younger members of the Academy would maybe be appealing to Avengers Infinity War. But still, I'm just going to run down. I think my number five is Christopher Robin. Maybe people haven't. I mean, it was a surprising inclusion. I don't think many people have seen it, and I don't think it's gonna get much support. But it's number five. And number four is Solo: A Star Wars Story. This film I know disappointed in the critical reception, but it's still Star Wars, and never discount Star Wars in the visual effects category. Number three is Ready Player One. This was the early frontrunner in the early award giving bodies that gave out visual effects. Ready Player One. It's a Spielberg production, and I don't think you can still discount it. I mean, it just so happens that the next two contenders have more vocal support or many people predicting it, but Ready Player One is just there. The spoiler for me would be Avengers Infinity War. Um, but the winner is still First Man. But everything happens. Now, costume design. Production design and costume design, at first, I thought would go to just a film, one film. Thinking about it, and honestly, watching other people talk about their predictions as well, I'm going for a split. But let's first discuss costume design. The nominees are the Ballad. I should have done this a while ago. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Black Panther, The Favorite, Mary Poppins Returns, and Mary Queen of Scots. I think number five is the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. It's a really surprising choice that they included the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I don't think many voters would go for this one. I don't think there's enough passion for the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Number four, I think Mary Poppins Returns. It's very good work from Sandy Powell, but there are more. I think there are showier choices here. And if they're ever going to vote for, I mean, the name of the costume designer is not in a ballot. But if ever they're gonna vote for Sandy Powell, I don't think it's gonna be for Mary Poppins Returns. But you know, Disney has is Disney, and it's showy enough, but not enough, I think, to topple the other three. I think number three is Mary Queen of Scots. It is showy. I mean, even if you just watch the trailers, it is very showy. It is about British royalty, so um, yeah, it can happen. But I think the passion for the next two films would be stopping it. Um, number okay, I am switching between Black Panther and The Favorite. Um, I think, oh gosh, I mean, I've already published this predictions in my blog, but I'm still thinking. I think the spoiler would be the favorite. It's Sandy Powell. It's not. It's unwise to bet against her normally, but Ruth Carter has the narrative of becoming potentially the first African American to win this category. Even if to the people who don't care much about costume design, I think Ruth Carter's name is so out there that they're gonna notice it. Normally, they would go to a very traditional period film, but I thought of 2015 Mad Max Fury Road, and then I also remembered, um, I think this is there's not much precedent with Mad Max Fury Road that would really be, it's not the traditional period film, but I just saw Black Panther photos, but the costumes are intricately designed and it's so specific. I'm excited to see it tomorrow. But yeah, I think this could be Black Panthers to win. But if you're going on a safe bet, maybe the favorite. I don't think the Academy and the predictions can go wrong with any of those two. Let's just settle with that. And my production design, the nominees are Black Panther, the favorite, First Man, Mary Poppins Returns, and Roma. This is, I think, where period bias can take place more than the costume design. First, let's start with number five, which is Roma. I'm yet to see it tomorrow as well, but I I think it's the most atypical from the five. I mean, all of those are either fantastical films or recreations of a certain period in time. I'm not saying Roma. Roma is a recreation of 1970s Mexico. However, it doesn't have um the what you say this. It doesn't have the explicitness of its periodness the same way that First Man and The Favorite has. So I think Roma is number five. However, if Roma wins this, watch out because it signals a stronger support for Roma in Best Picture. We're going to be doing a lot of that later. Number four is Mary Poppins Returns. I remember 2012 when not really many people were predicting for Lincoln, and then it happened. I just remembered how Mary Poppins Returns is really uh, production design heavy, as much as it is visual effects heavy. But since it's not nominated for visual effects, Mary Poppins Returns is a long shot, but it could still happen. I think number three is First Man, the recreation of the NASA set pieces, especially the spaceship. It's astounding, but the lack of support in other categories makes me think that First Man would just sit this one out. Because the real battle is between the favorite and Black Panther. With this one, I've seen short clips of Black Panther. There is a lot of outdoor scenes in Black Panther. And I don't that didn't affect Mad Max that much. I mean, another you know, if I think there's Mad Max is also sci-fi, and Black Panther is a superhero sci-fi, I guess. But um, I think this is the place where they're gonna go with the favorite. But again, the same same thing with costume design. Originally, it was both Black Panther. Choosing both the favorite makes sense. Switching, I think going the favorite in the production design and costume design, or vice versa for it all makes sense. I think I think this would come down in a few votes. The votes will matter here. Next is original song. I'm off to deep end. Anyway, the nominees are All the Stars from Black Panther, I'll Fight from RBG, The Place Where Lost Things Go from Mary Poppins Returns, Shallow from A Star is Born, and When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings from The Battle of the Buster Scruggs. Okay, I think number five is When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings. Just because the other four films I think are more popular, or there is something going on for those nominees that would support them for a win. But the fact that this song made it here instead of Revelation, or Suspirium, or another Triple Light Fantastic from Mary Poppins Returns is an achievement. Number four, I think, is The Place Where Lost Things Go. It is a very sweet song from Mary Poppins Returns. It got in over the more explosive musical number of Triple Little Light Fantastic. However, the fact that Mary Poppins Returns underperformed is a factor to consider it not being the closest to a win. Number three, I think, is All the Stars from Black Panther. Just because I think that other two songs have something going on for them. Okay, I think the spoiler is I'll Fight from RBG. Diane Warren is overdue of an Oscar for this category. RBG is one of the most popular documentaries this year. We're going to talk about that more in documentary feature. It could happen. Could, but maybe not. Because I think the if there is one lock in this Oscars, it's original song. I think that's Shallow. I still think Warner Brothers made a mistake of not campaigning I'll Never Love Again. I don't believe it would split. I think A Star is Born would have gotten two song nominations, the same way that La La Land got City of Stars and Audition. I'll Never Love Again is Lady Gaga's Oscar scene, and those and Shallow is the duet, the emblematic duet of the film. The same way the City of Stars and Audition is for La La Land. Anyway, but I'm just saying I love that song, and I think the song I'll Never Love Again would have been nominated, but still the support would have been for Shallow. Just happened that Shallow is Lady Gaga's ticket to Oscar Gold. More about Lady Gaga later, an actress, but yeah, I think the winner is Shallow. I think original score. The nominees are Black Panther, Black Klansman, If Beale Street Could Talk, Isle of Dogs, and Mary Poppins Returns. Toss up. First Man is snubbed. Justin Hurwitz, I believe, composed the score of the year. It almost swept all of the awards for scores, for original score, got Globe, Critics' Choice. It didn't even get nominated here. Now we don't have a flat out frontrunner in this category. You, since expanded ballot, only once has original score went to a non-Best Picture nominee, and that was Ennio Morricone for The Hateful Eight in 2015. And Ennio Morricone is a legend. He's never, I don't think he's ever won a competitive Oscar. He has an honorary Oscar. So the wise move is to not go with a non-Best Picture nominee. However, I would go with them one by one. Number five is Isle of Dogs by Alexandre Desplat. Ever since he got the win for Grand Budapest Hotel and for The Shape of Water, he's on a roll. He is doing fantastic films. He's scoring fantastic scores. I haven't seen Isle of Dogs. Good for Isle of Dogs for making it here. The fact that it got a nomination outside animated feature, but the fact that Isle of Dogs isn't even the most buzzed animated feature this year doesn't help it. Number four, I think, would be Mary Poppins Returns by Mark Shaman. He just did score for an entire musical, original. I think it's in the same. No, I think it's like Justin Hurwitz in La La Land, where he just created this new musical. And that usually gets support because it's sometimes best music is also most music. However, Mary Poppins Returns isn't even nominated for Best Picture. So that's something that goes against it. Okay, so now number three. I think number three would be Black Panther. Other people are predicting it. Other people are predicting Black Klansman. I don't. I don't know. Actually, after watching Black Klansman, I want to switch Black Panther and Black Klansman, and Black Panther is not a spoiler, but Black Klansman has Terrence Blanchard, and I think this is his first nomination, and he's been doing a lot of scores now, so he also has this overdue status. Well, overdue, but in a sense that this is his first, and he's been a long time in the business. That not the overdue like Roger Deakins, where 13, 14 Oscar nominations, zero wins. No, I think number two would be Black Klansman. Again, Terrence Blanchard. Here's the thing. This also applies in editing. The score of Black Klansman isn't something that I think would you would recall in your brain. The same way that First Man's moon landing sequence music does, or last year's Dunkirk, um, or La La Land. It doesn't have that recall. However, when Black Klansman uses music, it's in those very powerful moments. The final sequence of Black Klansman is where the music got its Oscar scene, if you call that, and it's a powerful showcase for the score. It's the most powerful scene of the film, and it could be the factor that would get Black Klansman the win. However, I'm going on a limb and picking if Beale Street Could Talk, even if it's not a Best Picture nominee, just because the score has already took a life of its own outside the film. It's obvious that Beale Street has support from the Academy, maybe just not enough to get a Best Picture nomination. I think it's number nine. But the fact that this one got nomination over First Man, and First Man was the front runner before the Oscars, and Beale Street was like number two. I think this could be Beale Street. And he was a Nicholas Bertel is a previous nominee from like Moonlight. I have a feeling they could go against. I mean, yeah, I just think Busey could talk to it. Okay, so sound editing. The nominees are Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody, First Man, A Quiet Place, and Roma. I don't think this is the year when they would go with the same film for sound mixing and sound editing. I hope not because the front runner for sound mixing, I don't want to talk about it, but later we'll do. Okay, I think number five is Roma. But here's the thing: if Roma gets this, there is a sure possibility of it getting Best Picture, because I think there's two sound categories. I mean, I've not yet seen Roma, but I've seen the other films, except Black Panther. But First Man, Bohemian Rhapsody, and A Quiet Place, they seem to be showier showcases for sound. And if Roma gets this, then it's a step closer to Best Picture. Number four is Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm I hate this film, but it won sound editing in the MPSE, and musical films or music heavy films don't normally even get nominated in this category. But watching the film, I can't think of a scene that really just screams sound editing, sound effects. However, this is now being voted by the entire Academy. I think Bohemian Rhapsody has a more solid chance in sound mixing than sound editing, but watch out if this wins sound editing, then Bohemian Rhapsody is a step closer to Best Picture. And I think number three is First Man. Even if it's not a Best Picture nominee, if you've seen the film, it would be hard to deny the craftsmanship and the sound. It's an auditory experience. It's my personal pick so far, but this is not my pick. Is not the Oscars. I have the TFO awards for that. Um, the spoiler I think is A Quiet Place. It's the only nomination of the film. However, the fact that it got nominated for PGA, it won supporting actress for Emily Blunt at SAG, makes me think there is more support in the Academy than we think. It's just so happy that maybe it's the number 6 or number 7. You think Best Picture, Best Supporting Actress, Best Original Screenplay, Best Sound Mixing, Best Original Score, Best Production Design, maybe. I think it's close to getting those nominations, but this is the only one that came through. I think A Quiet Place can do this, and it's a very showy film. It's a lot of the scenes are in quiet, but because of that, the sound effects are more magnified. That's why it could do it. I think the winner here is Black Panther, though, because it's an action film, and usually sound editing is where you see action films get the win. Thinking last year it's Dunkirk, and the previous year that was Arrival. And then sorry about that, and Mad Max Fury Road, and then American Sniper, and Gravity, and then Skyfall and Zero Dark 30 and a tie in 2012. I think this is one of those showier think sound effects. I think Black Panther has a lot of them. I would confirm that tomorrow, but just looking at it. Anyway, number 5. I don't know. Sound mixing. The nominees are Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody, First Man, Roma, and A Star Is Born. I think number 5 is Roma. If Roma wins this, it's gonna get Best Picture. Number 4, I think is First Man, just because the other 3 Best Picture nominees are more popular than First Man, obviously. Number 3 is A Star Is Born. Way back in November, December, I would have predicted A Star Is Born for the win in this category. However, there's this one music-heavy film that I think took the thunder from A Star Is Born, and then just it became the musical film of the year and not A Star Is Born anymore. But A Star Is Born has terrific sound mixing. If you're gonna rewatch it, it's more obvious, especially in the concert scenes where you can really feel the levels and the position of the sound. It's just amazing sound mixing. The spoiler would be Black Panther, I think. Normally, for example, this could apply like Mad Max Fury Road or Dunkirk or Gravity, where the action packed film gets both. However, Bohemian Rhapsody, I think, is getting this because the musical bias in this category. Normally, films that are musically inclined get this win. La La Land in 2016 was an anomaly. You would see this with Whiplash and Les Miserables. Um, yeah, and Slumdog Millionaire over The Dark Knight. Yeah, so I think Bohemian Rhapsody is gonna get this. I think this is one of the sure wins of Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh gosh, I'm not gonna be biased. I can't because film editing. The nominees are Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, and Vice. It helps me that I've already seen Black Klansman now, just an hour ago. So I think number 5 is Green Book. It's the least showiest, and this. Just remember, film editing normally goes for most editing. Um, you've seen that in Dunkirk, Hacksaw Ridge, Mad Max Fury Road, Whiplash. Um, yeah. um, Green Book is not a showy editing showcase, which doesn't mean it's a badly edited film. It's a wonderfully edited film in the sense that it's so smooth. There's such a smooth pace in it. You don't notice the time. It's just there's a lot of transition going on, but it's not in your face. It's there, but it's not obvious. Um, yeah, but if Green Book wins this, it's getting Best Picture. You have to watch out for those signs. Like for example, if For example, if La La Land missed costume design, it lost to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. If La La Land lost sound mixing to Hacksaw Ridge, if La La Land lost film editing to Hacksaw Ridge, there is a problem. La La Land is not winning. It's the same as this one. However, in the inverse, the reverse, I mean, if Green Book wins editing and it's not even the showiest editing of them all, it's winning. Number four for me is Black Klansman. Black Klansman has a steady pace in it. It's solidly paced. The editing is sharp, but it's never obtrusive. However, the final sequence of this film relies on the power of editing and music. The same way I discussed with original score, the final sequence of the Black Klansman is the Oscar scene for editing and score. The same way that the last third of Hacksaw Ridge is its Oscar moment, or um, Whiplash, last 10-20 minutes of Whiplash is its Oscar moment. Um, yeah, so sometimes an is like it's like in acting, but you have this moment, and we're gonna be talking about that later for next a nominee in this category as well. I think number three is the favorite. It's not the f- the thing with the favorite is that it's not there isn't one scene, but the whole film is so on point because of how sharp the editing was. It's deliberate. It sets the tone, the pace. There's so much being done by the editing in the favorite that a conscious viewer would notice how snappy the editing is in the favorite, and it's not even in your face. That there is no one scene in the favorite, but it's a totality of it. That's really. However, the problem is that the thing it's number three because the next two films are like showier. The spoiler for me is Vice. It won BAFTA. However, it's so showy. It's so showy. Um, damn, it's so showy. Sometimes it overdoes it. Sometimes it's perfect, but the editing is there. I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody sometimes takes a pause. Vice doesn't. Vice is deliberate, it's blunt, it's in your face, it's unsubtle, it's really it's in the spirit of the style of the film, the in your faceness of it. And Vice can win that. However, I think the fact that Vice didn't win editing over the favorite at ACE, the favorite won there. And I'm told you that the favorite doesn't have that. It doesn't have the most obvious editing, but it's a crucial part of. I just saw the moon. It's just a crucial part of the film. But Vice lost that. There is probably not much support for Vice, and maybe it's also some people maybe turned. Okay, here's the thing: Vice, in as much as its editing is very showy, it might put off other viewers as well. I think it does. I think it did. That's why my winner for the winner, I think the predicted winner here is Bohemian Rhapsody. Save us, gosh. Um, the film is so showily edited to the point of just it's horrendously edited. However, it's showy. It's there. There's a lot of musical sequences, and it's in your face. It's there. There's a lot of styles, fast cutting, split screen. Um, so many, so many, so many. And we're talking Oscar scene. That's the Live Aid. So that's the second Oscar win for Bohemian Rhapsody, as I predicted. Not gonna comment anymore because I want this to be as fair as possible because we're doing Oscar predictions, not my own comments. Okay, cinematography. The nominees are Cold War, The Favorite, Never Look Away, Roma, and A Star Is Born. I think number five is Never Look Away. It's a photograph by Caleb Deschanel. Uh, since Roger Deakins won last year for um, cinematography, Caleb Deschanel. Don't quote me on this, but Caleb Deschanel, I think now is the most nominated cinematographer without an Oscar win, and that's a factor I think that played why it got a nomination. However, I think Never Look Away has support. I mean, the fact that it got foreign language film over Burning and Birds of Passage and The Guilty, which I think were I predicted um would be closer to a nomination, but then Never Look Away got in. But this is a 3 hour film, 3 hour German language film. It might be intimidating to some voters. I am not intimidated by length. hmm By lengthy films, no, but there might be people who might just put it off just because they see it's 3 hours. That's sad, but it happens. I think number four is A Star Is Born. Um, it's photographed by Mathieu Libatique. He's nominated before for Black Swan. There's wonderful cinematography in A Star Is Born, but it's not as obvious as the others. Um, Mostly it's colors, and I think something to do with the color, especially the concert scenes. Um, yeah, it's mostly color. I think the colors is the highlight of A Star Is Born, and then the kinetic movement of the camera, especially in the concert scenes. But really, because we think cinematography, no, you gotta think how obvious it is as well. I mean, that's not supposed to be the way it is, but normally when you're gonna go for best cinematography, it's mostly the most deliberate. We're talking long takes. We're talking lenses. We're talking composition. We're talking color. I think A Star Is Born is mostly in the color, and yeah. Number three is The Favorite. I just love how deliberate those fish eye lenses are. It just contributes so much to the vibe of the film. Um, it's number three. I think the other two have more visible support in this. Well, um, surprising because both of the spoiler and my predicted winner are both foreign language films and both black and white films. But I think the spoiler here is Cold War. Cold War won ASC, but Cold War is exclusive to cinematographers. That's not how the Academy goes. For the win, everyone votes, and I think they would go with the one that they've seen that everyone has seen. I think that's Roma because it's also black and white and it's also foreign language film, and I bet more people have seen Roma than have seen Cold War. But watch out for Cold War. It's a legitimate threat for the win, and if Cold War wins that over Roma, Roma's not winning Best Picture. But right now, my predicted winner is Roma, just because it's so. I can't wait to see it. It's so beautiful just looking at it. Anyway, foreign language from the nominees are from Lebanon, Capernaum, from Poland, Cold War, from Germany, Never Look Away, from Mexico, Roma, and from Japan, Shoplifters. Okay, there is a possibility, and it's happening. Those anonymous voters, the brutal voters, the secret ballots. There are voters who are thinking of voting for Roma and Best Picture and Cold War for foreign language film. That might hurt Roma. However, I you know the most logical thing is i- if you're gonna vote for Roma in foreign language, if for Best Picture, I think you're gonna vote for Roma in foreign language film as well. I think. Now, I think number five is Never Look Away from Germany. The fact it got nominated for me is a surprise because Burning from South Korea is more critically acclaimed in terms of awards, and then Birds of Passage from Colombia is from Ciro Guerra, which is a past nominee for Embrace of the Serpent, and then The Guilty is from perennial favorite Denmark, but Germany is directed by Florian Henkel von Dammersmark, which directed the 2006 surprise winner as well, um, The Lives of Others. So I can't discount it. Okay, just kidding. Okay, number four I think is Lebanon for Capernaum. Um, I just feel that there's something. Sony Pictures Classics is handling Capernaum. It stars kids. I've heard it's a very emotional experience watching it. Who knows? Number three is Shoplifters from Japan. I think this is the first nomination for Hirokazu Koreeda. He won Cannes. So happy to see an Asian nominee here because this category has been historically Eurocentric. I mean, we got to change that. Aside from Japan and Iran and Israel, it's got to change. Um, Shoplifters has the trouble of having Cold War in Roma up against it, but remember, Japan surprised in 2008 for departures. No one was expecting that. So it can, especially for one of its renowned auteurs right now, Hirokazu Koreeda. It can happen. The spoiler is Cold War from Poland. Like I said, there's this voting thing that's going on at the Academy. Some voters feel that if they would vote for Roman Best Picture, then they can vote for Cold War in foreign language film. That could happen. I mean, the fact that Cold War got a surprise directing nomination shows support, and the fact that it's nominated outside, and I mean, the fact that it's nominated for directing, it's big. I mean, I think it's one thing to be nominated for cinematography, but it's also nominated in directing, so that's big. So people are paying attention to this film. But yeah, I'm going with Roma. This is gonna be Mexico's first win. So happy for Mexico because I think this vote also sends a message. I mean, we really want to make the Oscars about films and just, trying to pick which one's the best. But, at these tumultuous times when there's so much going on in the world, art, it's being demanded that art be relevant to our lives. And I think it also applies to the award giving bodies now. It happens now that sometimes um, a winner is really a winner, not just because of the quality of the work, but also because of the message that win sends. I mean, just think of 2016 when the Muslim ban happened, and then the Oscar for foreign language film went to Iran for The Salesman. I mean, we got to think within those lines as well. And then when there is, um, I mean, not really directly, but when again, in the spirit of the guy in the White House right now, um, I think LGBTQ rights also played a role. F- a narrative for Chile is a fantastic woman. Not to diminish the awards of those two, those were fantastic choices. However, you know, sometimes a vote, people think their votes should matter more than just picking the best. I mean, sometimes they think that they're sending a message through the vote. That's what I'm saying. That's what I am just saying. Now, the same thing happens with documentary feature. The nominees are Free Solo, Hill County This Morning, This Evening, Minding the Gap of Fathers and Sons, and RBG. I think number five is of Fathers and Sons, just because of um, its exposure, to the general public. I think that that's the least seen out of the five. I mean, I'd love to see it soon. Um, I think it's about a filmmaker who went back to his um, roots and then of a jihadist roots, and that is a very intriguing. Um, and I think that would intrigue voters as well. However, I don't think that would be enough to go up. Anyway, number four is Hail Counted this morning, this evening. Number three is Minding the Gap. Yay for an Asian director. Now, Free Solo versus RBG. RBG is a timely subject. A vote for RBG the film is a vote of support for RBG the person, the legend. However, Free Solo just became the highest grossing documentary film of last year. It's a big screen experience. It's got glowing reviews, RBG not so much. So this is a place where you think which one is the more viewed? Probably RBG because it's about a very timely subject. It's about RBG. It's about a very well loved subject within the liberal world, you know. But also Free Solo, there is support from filmmakers here. Before this video, I predicted RBG. Now I'm going Free Solo. But RBG, watch out for it. Okay, animated feature film. The nominees are Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Mirai, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think number five is Ralph Breaks the Internet. I think just because, I mean, common sense would more normally dictate Mirai, but I think if you've seen Mirai, I don't know. I mean, there is a thing with Japanese, with anime getting in here. For example, The Wind Rises and Spirited Away got it in 2002. When Marnie was there in 2015. Um, I forgot the nominees in 2016, but it's easier for me to see passion more for Mirai than Ralph Breaks the Internet, given that they would see Mirai. Ralph Breaks the Internet, I think if you've seen this, you're normally the kind of person who would watch, Incredibles 2, Out of Dogs, and Spider Man. And I think you would go to those three than Ralph Breaks the Internet. I mean, no offense, I haven't seen Ralph Breaks the Internet. I hope it's fantastic. I love Wreck It Ralph. However, it doesn't feel that urgent to vote for it. So yeah, my number four is Mirai. My number three is Isle of Dogs. Back in May, this is my pick for best animated feature. I've seen none of these. Back in 2000 in May, I predicting Isle of Dogs over Incredibles 2, but since a latecomer crashed into the party, I think we're having Isle of Dogs in number three, Incredibles 2 is number two. Remember when they lazy voted to Brave in 2000? That happened, okay? So Incredibles 2 could happen. But I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is such love for it. I mean, I think the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the nomination was the hurdle. And then when it got in, I think it's safer to assume that it's gonna get the win. Okay, adapted screenplay. The nominees are The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Black Klansman, Can You Ever Forgive Me, If Bill Street Could Talk, and A Star Is Born. Number five is Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I just don't see it getting more support than any of the other four. Number four would be A Star Is Born. Even those who love it can't really say that its strongest suit is writing. I think it's been criticized for its structure. Number three for me is If Beale Street Could Talk. This one has been closest to again. This I think this was number nine in the best picture, but given the fact that you have Black Klansman too, and Can You Ever Forgive Me, I think those two have more advantage. And Can You Ever Forgive Me is my spoiler. Normally, since the expansion of the ballot, no writer, no film won screenplay that is not a Best Picture nominee. But this is such a weird year, and anything could happen. Bohemian Rhapsody could win Best Picture. So I think Can You Ever Forgive Me could happen. But Black Klansman, Spike Lee getting his first competitive Oscar, that's a moment. It would be a deserved win. It's such a crazy story, you know. I've always got to remind myself that it was based on a real story because that was some crazy joint from Spike Lee. However, if it doesn't win screenplay, it stands no chance of winning Best Picture, I think. Because if they're gonna reward Black Klansman, I think it is this category. Original screenplay, the nominees are The Favorite, First Reform, Green Book, Roma, and Vice. We could have had a narrative for Paul Schrader getting his first Oscar win, but since it didn't even get Ethan Hawke Best Director, I don't. I think the nomination is the reward. However, I can see it still happening. Number four, I think is Roma. I I think 2002. Habla con ella. Talk to Her by Pedro Almodovar was the last foreign language film winner of original screenplay. Um, but if it happens, then Roma is winning Best Picture. Number three is Vice. I think it's really wonderfully written, abrasive writing, but it's also in your face. Maybe not as in your face as the editing, but the writing in Vice is crucial. Okay, now spoiler: Green Book is closer to a Best Picture win than The Favorite. So normally I would have bet on Green Book for the win in this category. However, I think as evidenced by previous years in the expanded ballot, I don't think they're going lazy voting here. I mean, last year, The Shape of Water and Three Billboards were nominated for original screenplay. They went with Get Out. In 2016, La La Land was the front runner. It went to Manchester by the Sea. 2013, American Hustle was a spoiler for the win. It went to Her. 2012, I don't know what happened in 2012. um, Never mind 2012. 2011, The Artist won Best Picture. Original screenplay went to Midnight in Paris. I think people are paying attention. I don't think this is gonna be like 2010 and 2009 where they went with the Best Picture winner. 2010, The King's Speech. 2009, The Hurt Locker. I don't think that's gonna be to happen. That's not going to be the case this year. I think they're gonna go with the if if visual effects has most visual effects, if film editing has most editing, I think writing is also has the most dialogue, most writing. I mean, screenplay is just in screenplay. The pauses are just as important as the dialogue. Moments of silence. However, the Oscar scenes in original screenplay are the dialogue scenes, and you gotta go with a film that's entirely an Oscar moment for writing, and that is The Favorite. I've seen The Favorite 2 days ago. It's unbelievably written. No line of dialogue is bad. Everything, almost everything is quotable. That helps it secure the win because sometimes original screenplay is the place for original screenplay is the place for the maybe oddball films that the Academy clearly loves. Like think of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind in 2004. Again, Talk to Her in 2002. Um, they can go oddball in this category, and it's even a more um, viable odd choice if it's an oddball Best Picture nominee. I mean, The Favorite is a period piece, but it's not like any other period piece, and it's a writer's dream. So what do you know? So best performance by an actor in a supporting role. The nominees are Mahershala Ali in Green Book, Adam Driver in Black Klansman, Sam Elliott for A Star Is Born, Richard E. Grant in Can You Ever Forgive Me, and Sam Rockwell in Vice. Sam Rockwell was really good in Vice. I don't think there's an urgency for him to win back to back. So he's number 5. Adam Driver in Black Klansman. I just saw him a while ago. He's very good. He has great moments. However, if there's going to be a path for him to win Best Supporting Actor, he should have won something, and he didn't. um, I think a long shot possibility would be Sam Elliott in A Star Is Born. He's a veteran. This is his first win. This is a brief role, but unlike Sam Rockwell in Vice, this is a brief role that matters. It's crucial to the narrative of the film. He has knockout scenes in this film. It could be a surprise that may totally happen. Richard E. Grant is the spoiler. He hasn't won BAFTA. That's his crowd. However, he has worked the campaign trail so well that if there's a spoiler, it's him. But let's not kid ourselves. The only acting category which had a clear, sweeping frontrunner was Mahershala Ali in Green Book. He has the advantage of being a leading performance in the film, but he's really good in it, and it will happen. Mahershala Ali, Oscar number 2. If actor in a supporting role is such a clear-cut race, not supporting actress. Nominees are Amy Adams in Vice, Marina de Tavira in Roma, Regina King for If Beale Street Could Talk, Emma Stone for The Favorite, and Rachel Weisz in The Favorite. I don't think there's urgency for Emma Stone to win. Number 2, she's fantastic in it. In The Favorite, I must tell it right now. Gosh, she's so good in it. But yeah, I think the other 4 have better chances of getting a win. Amy Adams in Vice, my number 4. When Regina King wasn't nominated at SAG and BAFTA, she should have gotten it. But the fact that she didn't, I don't think there's much support in Amy Adams for this performance. And I actually think I'm happy for it because I don't want her to win for a performance that doesn't really show her range. I mean, she could do so. I mean, just watch Arrival and she could do so much more. I mean, I think this nomination would just help her build the momentum for number 7 or a number 8, because after this ceremony, if Glenn Close wins, she will be the most nominated actress with 0 wins at 6 that's still alive. A long shot possibility would be Marina de Tavira in Roma. The fact that she got in, she had no precursor support. She's working the circuit along with Jalitza. Alfonso Cuaron stressed in every acceptance speech that Jalitza and Marina, in a crazy race like this, the fact that the front runner, Regina King, has significant misses, and Rachel Weisz is a previous winner and is up against a co-star, and both of them are leads. Marina could get this. However, the spoiler, I think, is Rachel Weisz in The Favorite. She got the BAFTA. Well, and the winner is Regina King. But whatever, anyone could win. Okay. Oh dear. Performance by an actor in a leading role. The nominees are Christian Bale in Vice, Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born, Willem Dafoe in An Eternity's Gate, Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody, and Viggo Mortensen in Green Book. I think number five is Willem Dafoe in At Eternity's Gate. Not many people have seen this performance. I think, as proven by the box office. However, if there are screeners, well, who knows? He's got the momentum from missing a win last year for the Florida Project, but yeah, it's the film's only nomination, and it's tough to see them getting behind this. Number four is Viggo Mortensen in Green Book. I think the momentum of the backlash against him personally is gone. It's just that there isn't urgency for him to win this time. He hasn't won yet. I Yeah, but if there's gonna win, if there's someone who will win in Green Book, that's Mahershala Ali for sure. Okay, my number three is Christian Bale in Vice. He won a Critics' Choice. He won a Golden Globe in comedy. However, after Vice opened, the momentum of Vice dropped after it got the nominations. Just because people are now really divided into Vice. Christian Bale is terrific in it. He won an Oscar in 2010. Well, people would say he won an Oscar in 2011, but I'm going the year in film, 2010. For the fighter supporting, that was supporting. Here's the thing. My number two is Bradley Cooper in The Star Is Born. Most people would go, number two is Christian Bale right now. But Bradley Cooper, wow. Why does the industry don't like him? He didn't get that done or the directing nomination, understandable. I think he and Warner Brothers got too busy building the narrative for him as a director that he wasn't able to campaign much. That gave Rami Malek the leeway to go for actor. And now Bradley Cooper is like chasing the momentum for actor, and it's kind of too late. I'm so sad because I think I am yet to see Defoe, but Cooper is the best out of the four that I've seen, hands down. Yeah, but there could be sympathy for him that he didn't get director nomination, and A Star Is Born is not probably going to win Best Picture at this point, so probably actor could solve the problem. But the predicted win is Rami Malek and Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it that much. Anyway, he won a BAFTA, he won a Golden Globe, he won a SAG, he won um yeah, and the fact that Bohemian Rhapsody got nominated in Best Picture just solidified his win. It's the same way that when The Blind Side got nominated for Best Picture, Sandra Bullock gets the Best Actress. The same way that um, Room got Best Director, just solidified Brie Larson for Best Actress. I think that's the case. Um, Now, actress in a leading role. This is my favorite category ever. The nominees are Yalitza Aparicio in Roma, Glenn Close in The Wife, Olivia Colman in The Favorite, Lady Gaga in A Star Is Born, and Melissa McCarthy for Can You Ever Forgive Me. Number five is Melissa McCarthy, Can You Ever Forgive Me? There are those who love this performance. I think it's just a matter of people not. Um, I think just the four films have more exposure than Can You Ever Forgive Me. Yeah, but it's so wonderful to see Melissa McCarthy get a leading role. That's not the obviously comedic performance. I'm yet to see it, but I love her. Number four, I think, is Yalitza Aparicio. It could happen if Roma gets a sweep. She could happen. Long shot possibility is Lady Gaga. She dropped the momentum once she lost the Golden Globe. If she won the Globe, we might have her as a closer win. My spoilers, Olivia Colman the favorite, but the winner is Glenn Close and the wife. I think Glenn Close got everything right. The nomination was the hurdle. She got the nomination, she got the buzz, and it's a deserving performance. Shut up, haters. She deserves the Oscar based on that performance alone. I mean, of course, this is the previous losses help her shape a narrative, but she deserves this based on this performance alone. Okay, directing. The nominees are Spike Lee, Black Klansman, Pavel Pavlikovsky in Cold War, Yorgos Lanthimos in The Favorite, Alfonso Cuarón in Roma, and Adam McKay in Vice. I'm so tempted to say that the number 5 is Adam McKay for Vice, but I think my whatever. I think number 5 is Pavel Pavlikovsky in Cold War. Number 4 is Adam McKay in Vice. Yorgos Lanthimos is number 3. Spike Lee's number 2. And the winner is Alfonso Cuarón in Roma. If Alfonso loses this, Roma's not winning Best Picture. Just want to say. Okay, so Best Picture. I have 2 films left to see, Roma and Black Panther, but this list saddens me. I mean, currently my top 5, none of my top 5 of the year are in this. It makes me sad. However, you can make a case for the top 7 nominees for a win. I think each of those 7 would benefit from the preferential ballot, so the rankings really matter. I think number 8 is Vice. It's so divisive. Even as a person who personally liked the film, I am divided. So I don't think it's gonna get a lot of number 1. Number 7, I think, is the favorite. I think it's very well respected. However, I see more passion from the other 6. But the favorite could totally surprise. Just telling you that. As I told you, the top 7 nominees can win. That's never happened before. I mean, the fact that the favorite got directing, writing, 3 acting nominations, and editing just signals that there is so much support in this film. But if we're talking passion, I think number 6 is A Star Is Born. It missed directing and editing. Many people would say it's already the death of its Best Picture chances. But I think it's gonna get a lot of number 2 to number 5 votes. And I told you it's gonna matter a lot. I, it's the film with the heart. It's the classic romance. It's hard to hate it. I think preferential ballot would be kind to A Star Is Born. Number 5 is Bohemian Rhapsody. Everyone seems to love Queen, to the fact that everyone seems to bypass how awful this film is. But aside from that, it's got a lot of guild support. It got the Best Picture nomination, despite all odds. And the love for Queen is real. I think it's gonna show up in a lot of number 2 to number 6. There are definitely people who would put it number 8, but it's gonna show up in a lot of number 2 to number 6. Number 4, I think, is Black Panther. It's got SAG. Maybe not a lot of number 1s, but I think a lot of number 2 to number 5 or 6. votes. I mean, Black Klansman. Here's the thing. I don't think. I also don't think it's gonna get a lot of number ones, but it's gonna get a lot of number twos to number five, even number four. So yeah. Well, except if you're a Republican, then you would totally put it at number eight. But number two is Green Book. Green Book will definitely benefit from the other films. However, I'm thinking from below the line. If your number one is Vice, I don't think your number two is Green Book. If your number one is The Favorite, I don't think your number two is Green Book. But if you're A Star Is Born or Bohemian Rhapsody, maybe your number two is Green Book or number three or number four. But just think of the films. That's why it got a surprise editing nomination. But there's so many things going on against it. But it's my number two. And my winner, the predicted winner, is going to be the first streaming film to win Best Picture, the first foreign language film to win Best Picture. I think it's gonna be Roma. I think the $50 million campaign would pay off. The fact that a foreign language film made it this far and the Academy becoming more diverse than ever, becoming more international, it's gonna get a lot of number one to number five to number six. I think Roma has to win. Has it to win this year. It's a weird pick in retrospective, but it's a weird year. So I think Roma's getting this. But you know what? I question the ranking as well. So who knows? I mean, this has been a crazy year. Tomorrow I would be watching Black Panther and Roma. I'm still sad that Widows, Hereditary, um, didn't make it. And I'm so sad First Man, A Quiet Place, and um and yeah, First Man didn't make much of an impact at the Oscars because they really deserve it. However, this is the Oscars, you know. Um, it's their opinion. Um, we gotta move on after this. You know, only time will tell. Really, first of all, film appreciation is very subjective, and the Oscars is done through voting, so it's all subjective. Number two, um, time really will tell which of these is really the great films. You know, I for sure there will be Best Picture nominees and winners that we have already forgotten or we think they're not deserving. There are films that people have forgotten but are actually deserving, and there are films that stay with us. The Oscars has had a complicated history, but that's part of the fun of it is that it's dynamic, and especially with the last of years, 2 or 3 years, I think we're gonna see how the diversified membership will impact the winners this year. I really think so. I think we already saw it with the nominations. I mean, the fact that the film could Black Klansman and um, Roma could go up against Bohemian Rhapsody and Green Book. It's a proof of how diverse the taste is already at the Academy. I mean, I hope the push for more diversity in the membership continues because we would see more representation and inclusivity. But the Oscars is a part of film history. Whether you like it or not, it's there. And yeah. So if you agree with the Oscars, fine. I mean, 2015 was a blast when Spotlight won Best Picture because it was my number one of the year. Sometimes it's heartbreaking when La La Land was my pick. It won for 2 minutes and then Moonlight lost, but It's depends on you. Every great film affects a person, and every person has a different set of tastes. So thank you so much for watching us. See you next time. Goodbye.